Hey, welcome back. You did it. You've reached the end of this whole journey into prompt engineering. So before you jump into what's next, let's just take a minute and look back at everything you've learned and accomplished.
And seriously, you should be proud. Over these last 10 chapters, you weren't just picking up a few tips and tricks. No way. You were systematically building a brand new, really powerful toolkit that's going to fundamentally change how you approach your job as a marketer.
So, how about we lock in all that new knowledge with a quick review of the highlights? Think of it as the final polish on your new set of skills before you go out there and really put them to work. Ready? Let's dive in. We kicked things off, as you'll remember, with Act 1, building a really strong foundation. These first few chapters were all about getting those core principles down, the stuff that everything else is built on top of. And it all started right here, with this core idea of prompt engineering. You learned pretty quickly that the quality of what you put in, well, it directly dictates the quality of what you get out. It's not magic, right? It's a skill you now have that lets you guide the conversation with AI. But before we could really start building, we had to talk about protection. One of the first and honestly most crucial steps was learning how to spot and protect your most critical assets, your customers' private data, and your company's own secret sauce, its intellectual property. Because as you saw, the stakes here are incredibly high. And this slide just shows that concept in action perfectly. You got hands-on with sanitizing prompts, learning how to strip out all those sensitive details while keeping the core marketing request intact. This right here is the key to using AI safely and super effectively. And to round out that foundation, we broke down the anatomy of a truly effective prompt. By getting really good at defining the task, giving the right context, setting smart constraints, and even showing a few examples, you learned how to take control and make sure the AI works for you, not the other way around. So with that solid foundation in place, it was time for Act 2, putting all that theory into practice. This is where you really rolled up your sleeves and started applying those core skills to a huge range of real-world marketing tasks. You learned how to generate an incredible variety of content. From detailed blog posts to entire email campaigns, from social media posts tailored to specific platforms to landing page copy that's laser-focused on conversion. You saw firsthand just how versatile this toolkit really is. But you didn't just stop at writing copy. You took it to the next level, the strategic level. You started using AI to build out detailed audience personas, brainstorm creative campaign ideas, develop solid messaging frameworks, and even plan out entire content calendars. Okay, so you mastered individual tasks, you mastered strategic planning, but what about the really big, complex projects? How did you learn to connect all those pieces together to do something like, say, develop a whole white paper from scratch? Well, the answer was the multi-step workflow. You learn to take a massive project and just break it down into these simple, manageable stages. Brainstorm a ton of ideas, pick one and outline it, draft it section by section, and then finally refine the whole thing. This is how you really orchestrate AI to do complex, high-value work. And all of that brought us to our final act, taking your individual skills and thinking bigger. How to implement AI strategically across your entire team or even your whole organization. In this last part, you got the blueprint for building a real, sustainable, AI-enhanced workflow. It's all about finding the best opportunities, creating a library of standard prompts for your team, making sure there's always a human review process for quality, and then, of course, measuring the impact to show how much it's helping. Which brings us to today, and here's the most important takeaway of all. You've done it. You have successfully mastered the universal principles of prompt engineering for marketers. You've got the foundation, the practical skills, and the strategic framework. But, and this is a big but, here's the pivot. While all these principles work everywhere, the real impact, the true transformation, happens when you apply them specifically to your unique environment, with your own challenges, your own tools, and your own goals. And that, of course, brings us to the logical next step, moving from the general guidance you got here to creating solutions that are perfectly tailored for your team. So, it's really important to remember that this tutorial offered general guidance, for a typical organization, but let's be honest, every single company is unique. That's why the next level of mastery is all about tailoring these skills to your team's specific needs. And that's exactly where specialized training comes in. It's designed around the specific tools and processes that your team actually uses every day, which helps you reduce risks and hit your own unique productivity goals.
So, just so we're clear, because this is general guidance, it might not be perfectly applicable to your situation, and it's offered without any warranty. That's why we always work super closely with an organization to figure out its unique needs before we develop any kind of custom training. It's all about creating something that's a perfect fit.
So, if you're ready to take that next step and explore a training program that's built specifically for your organization's goals, you can reach out to Bob Slovic at the email you see on your screen. Congratulations again on everything you've accomplished. Now go put it into practice.